Welcome to episode 160 of the Twim Show. This is your host Sajid Islam, and today I'll be going over the notable news and updates from the digital marketing space from the week of May 8th through 12th. Now, folks, one disclaimer: today's episode has been built in terms of, obviously, I still sourced the news items worthy of this show. However, all the show notes or all the notes that are gonna show up on the episode for this episode have been generated using generative AI. Okay, I shared this with you because I wanted to tap into the power of generative AI, cut down the time it takes for me to build this show. Number one, number two, also show you the power of generative AI. Now, please do read the show notes, send me feedbacks either directly or through the feedback mechanism to tell me how it is going, if you enjoyed it, if it's drastically different, if you enjoyed it, or if it sucked, because if you don't, I will continue to use generative AI. That's how the game is going to go, right? Not just in Twim Show, but across the board. Okay, with that, let's jump in. First off, bit of a public service announcement that seems like scammers are exploiting verified accounts on Facebook and Instagram to defraud users. And this is going to the point where people have taken, or scammers, bad actors have taken accounts, pages that were previously verified or have basically paid to get verified and running ad campaigns saying, oh, hey, by the way, and I've seen this. Hey, by the way, we are retiring our dashboard for security reasons. Now you need to download this app, which is a desktop app, and re-verify your ad accounts. And when you do that, obviously they take over your ad accounts, right? And they take over your ad accounts, they run crappy ads and whatnot, and everything else is like history. Now, obviously, Facebook has taken actions. They're like deleting those accounts, things like that. However, I just want you to be aware that this is going on. So be careful if you see something that asks you to download or to verify something like that, an ad, and you are gonna say, hey, this will never happen to me. Right. And I have, me being a person who kind of covers these things, who is kind of, I sit across like both on the tech side and the market side and kind of, work on digital cloud transformation, things like that. I will tell you, I've seen some of those things that really triggers a response, and it will get your amygdala kind of on a flight or fight mode. And everyone's gonna fall victim to this kind of scams. So please be careful. Okay, with that, the next update from Meta is that Meta has announced the launch of AI Sandbox, which is a suite of generative AI tools designed to enhance the effectiveness of advertising on their platform. The Sandbox provides 3 generative AI features. Number 1 is text variation. With this tool, you can enter your ad copy and the AI will suggest several variations for you to test. This feature helps you to optimize your copy based on AI-driven insights, allowing you to choose whether the suggestions are not great or looks good. The next one is background generation. This feature enables you to use text prompts to define the appearance or style of the background you want. It allows for testing various images and gauging their impact on ad performance. And number 3 is image cropping. This tool assists in adjusting your assets to fit in different aspect ratios across Facebook and Instagram surfaces such as stories and reels. Now, in my opinion, these tools have potential to significantly improve the performance of your Facebook advertising while saving time, especially the first one, which is text variation, because that is very, very helpful. However, as is always the case with AI, it's crucial to test, monitor outputs given that generative AI is not flawless. Hey, I started off this episode saying, we are using generative AI. I'm using generative AI. Nevertheless, the jury is still out. You are the listener. You are the reader. You're going to come and tell me whether it lived up to your expectations or not. As we approach currently, the generative AI features are only available to select group of advertisers. However, Meta has announced to expand access to more advertisers in July. As we approach the date, we will keep you informed about any further developments. Okay. Next up is an update from Pinterest. Pinterest is revamping its pin creation process, unifying all its creation features into a single streamlined flow. This simplification means all that features previously exclusive to certain pin formats or business accounts are now accessible to all users. This includes the ability to add links, make post, publish edits, adjust aspect ratio flexibly. Adding to the creative suite, all content creators can now include expressive features like music, text, overlay, and stickers to their pins. If you'd say that looks like Facebook stories, Facebook reels, you are right. And not reels, Facebook stories or Insta stories. It is right. It's just copying one function from the other. But nevertheless, if you are playing the Pinterest game, this is obviously a great update for you. And this Pinterest is not for everyone. I've basically spoke to someone last week, and she basically has digital downloads. She advertises, markets on Pinterest, and makes somewhere around $2,000 a week. Oh, sorry, $2,000 a day out of promotion from Pinterest that drives traffic to her site, and from where she sells digital downloads. Like, hey, that's 2,000 times 30 is 60,000. 60,000 times 12 is $720,000 a year. Not bad, right? So who thought Pinterest is dead? You just have to niche down and find your audience. And now your audience may not be on Instagram, your audience may not be on YouTube, but your audience may be on Pinterest. So you need to find, and the goal of this show is to bring you all the things that are happening, and then you decide which one is for you. Now, obviously, if you're stuck and you do not know what to do, where you should focus on, and what channel you should focus on, you can always reach out to me, and I will do my best to kind of guide you. Okay. The thing is, Pinterest is expanding access to its paid partnership tool and product tagging using affiliate links option. It is also enabling emoji reaction on all pin types, adding a new layer of user engagement. That's about it. Okay. With the Pinterest update, let's jump to the next update, which is on TikTok. So this is an exciting news for TikTok marketers. TikTok recently obviously held the third annual TikTok World event, showcasing the latest product development and tools and creator options, with all the aim of empowering businesses to increase their TikTok presence. Except for ours, we really do not have much presence on TikTok. We tried a little bit last year, and frankly speaking, it just was too much for us. We're a small company. We cannot be on YouTube, we cannot be on LinkedIn, we cannot be on Insta, we cannot be on TikTok. So I just said, we're going to focus on YouTube. So everything what we do is primarily on YouTube, and the next platform is LinkedIn. Yeah, I know, I totally understand. We are missing out potential traffic, potential eyeballs, but trust me, we are at a point where we really cannot chase too many rabbits. If we do, we will not catch anything. So let's just focus on that, and obviously at some point, maybe in the future, we are going to focus on TikTok and other platforms. Now, back to the TikTok news, but the cherry on top of this launch is the cherry on top is the launch of new TikTok World Hub, a central space that houses all the key announcements and insights from the event. The hub provides access to video presentations covering topics like e-commerce elements, improved ad tools, and more. It also links to a range of guides aimed at enhancing your TikTok marketing strategy. TikTok has published 2 new guides within the hub. The first is Creative Codes, which gives an overview of the key principles that drive standout creativity on the app. The second is a comprehensive 4-page explainer of TikTok creative principles. These guides are designed to help you amplify your TikTok content efforts. While no major updates were announced during the TikTok World event, TikTok provides valuable insights into the app's best practices and ongoing development of its ad tools. It's certainly worth your time to explore, absorb the information to maximize your potential on the platform. Now, I know that was a lot because I just read from the show notes. Again, that was kind of generated by the generative AI. We use a combination of ChatGPT and Bard, or I use a combination of ChatGPT and Bard. But coming back to the TikTok announcements, obviously you, the business owner, can review and kind of see what it is, but it's your marketing people who should be doing this for you, right? You as an owner can kind of skim through it and kind of figure out, hey, we should be doing this. Why are we not doing this kind of checks and balances? If you don't have a marketing advisor, but if you do, it's the job of your marketing advisor. So you, the owner, can continue to wear the owner's hat, or can continue to wear the CEO hat and focus on strategy and growth. Okay, and give it to your CEO and the marketing people to figure out, hey, what is it we need to do next? What are we missing out? What do you not see? Next up, Let's talk about the key announcements from Google I/O 2023. Again, I'm gonna quickly skim through the main announcements that matters to you. But if you want to read all the announcements, it's in the show notes. Now, Google annual I/O event was last week. Google did a lot of stuff, showed a lot of stuff. But one thing you need to know about Google is transforming search with AI. Basically, the company has integrated a range of new generative AI tools into Google Search, enabling a more comprehensive and efficient search experience. You can expect to uncover new viewpoints, insights, and understand a topic faster. However, Google has also noted that errors in AI responses are to be expected, and they will be refining the systems over time based on user feedback. This is actually a game changer from what I've seen, the demos, and what I've experienced so far. Now more than ever, SEO is important, because guess where this is learning from SEOs, crawling, things like that. So if you're not playing the SEO game, you're going to miss out. Next up is AI in shopping results. Google's generative AI tools will also be applied to shopping results to aid users in product comparisons. These new AI elements for shopping will provide insights into key elements to consider when making purchase, including up-to-date reviews, ratings, prices, and product images. The third option is obviously BARD expansion. Fourth is photo editing. You don't need to know all this. Fifth is mitigating the risk of generating generative AI. I'm not going to cover this. You don't need to really know that. It's just so that you know those top two were the most important one that you should actually hear about. The three, if you're really curious, go and read the show notes. The other thing I want you to know about is that Google's really pushing into AI. Right, BARD has come a long way in the last few weeks compared to what BARD was right at the initial launch, because I've compared the results, I've compared it with ChatGPT, and it's just getting better and better to the point where BARD is something to be seriously taken. Whether you like ChatGPT or BARD, something that remains to be seen, but the fact remains that generative AI is here to stay. Next up, Google has addressed that some rumors have been circling that GA4 deadline is going to be extended. Jeannie Marvin has basically said, no way, we are not changing. And I believe Google, no matter what people are saying, because GA4 is hard, GA4 is half-baked, GA4 is whatnot, does not matter. Google has more to lose if they do not sunset universal analytics than they have by extending universal analytics. Now you're going to say, hey, a lot of people are going to leave UA because it's not worth the effort to go to GA4 because it's such a big learning curve. So many things are happening. Let it be. Google is willing to take that stance because remember, if the European Commission or if GDPR, which is Google, has already been labeled, current version of Universal Analytics has already been labeled as illegal, Google has a lot more to risk, not only in terms of business that they cannot operate anywhere in Europe, number one. Number two is the fines they're going to get. It's better to kind of cut it off and roll into GA4, fix it as it goes along versus, you are going to be like, GA4 is half-baked. A lot of marketers out there on LinkedIn are complaining about it because they are starting up late and they haven't really taken the time to learn GA4 and they're just like swimming and they're bitching about it. But you know what? Don't listen to them. This is why you need to have the right people in your circle. But coming back, Google is not going to change the deadline. This is me making an opinion based on what I understand about Google Analytics, right? We'll see. Next up, Google talked about reflang X default to boost your website navigation and conversions. Like reflang X default value, it's an underused feature that can significantly improve user experience and website navigation. It's primarily for websites that have different languages for different regions, and sometimes people do not use it. Like for example, if you set your default language, say for Canada is English, and if you don't do it, and Google cannot decide whether it's supposed to show it in French or English, and you don't have a French site, reflang X default is going to redirect it to say English, right? It's just a very unused feature of SEO that Google is saying, you need to really do that. There are a couple of benefits. Obviously, one I touched on, which is enhanced user experience by directing users to a URL that is best suited to them. When the preferred language is not supported, you improve their overall experience. Now you could say, Sajid, what's the difference between English in US and English in Canada? There's a slight difference. Like, in one great example, one thing that comes to my mind is, hey, in American English we spell color as COLOR. In Canadian English we say COLOUR. That's British English, right? Again, in American English we pronounce Z. In Canadian English we pronounce Z. Right, so it's a slight nuance, but it just makes the user feel like, you listen to them, you understand them, and or the visitor to feel like, oh, they talk our language, they understand what they're talking about, things like that. The next benefit of reflang X default is the URL discovery. The URL specified in reflang annotations, including X default, may be used for URL discovery. This is particularly beneficial for large sites with complex structures, as it ensures every localized URL is well linked and accessible. Okay. Again, it can also potentially increase your conversions and better serve your audience. So obviously, it's crucial to adhere to best practice and avoid common mistakes when implementing reflang X default. However, if you have a small, site which is just English, you can skip it. Next up, John Mueller from Google has basically touched on nofollow for SEO. This is something we have covered in the past, as recent as I think last month or maybe the month before that. But anyway, people are still confused when to use nofollow and how to use nofollow. Number one, especially around sponsored content, and the other one is for user-generated content, UGC. Right? Again, you can always get around by saying relative link equals to nofollow, and that will be fine. Technically, it says correct, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Because if it's a sponsored outbound link, you want to put nofollow commas sponsored or sponsored attribute in somewhere, because Google should know what's sponsored versus non-sponsored, because it really helps you with your ranking. Also kind of giving some credits to the other link. And for user-generated content, also you want to say it's UGC, so that if someone's typing in crap, Google knows, hey, yeah, this website owner has no authority or no handle over all this stuff. So everything that shows up in the comment sections, FAQ sections are UGC. Let's just ignore them. But again, Google recommends, but does not require. Just because Google does not require does not mean you should skip it. You should totally focus on it and pay attention to it. By the way, there is more detailed description or write-up about this in our show notes. So if you are really interested on how to use nofollow, please check it out. Cross-domain canonicals. We talked about it last week or the week before that. Again, that came up because people were kind of confused, not our listeners, but just people in general on the internet. So Google came out and they just said, there are some limitations, but basically, even though Google is saying that cross-domain canonical should not be used because Google cannot figure out what should be the right one, and sometimes copy is like articles do not appear as is. Sometimes things are changing. What they're saying is that you can still, let me see what it says. So it was designed to self-identify what should be considered a canonical version of a page when there might be duplicates or near duplicates. And what they're saying is that you should not use it, but if you use it, you're fine, right? Because sometimes syndication partners they do not... you do not have control over the copy of the content, right? So again, we do not we also do try to support canonical across domains. That's what Google said, but canonical is not recommended for those who wish to avoid duplication by syndication partners, because the pages are often very different, right? So it's not the same, but it could be a different version of the same page. So again, it's just a very hairy topic. It really affects people who have like Yahoo News and Microsoft Bing, because they seem to be syndicating content quite a bit, especially from Yahoo to Microsoft Bing. But otherwise, I would say you still should use canonical, especially within your own site. Now, the one question that came up this week during, last week during the Google SEO office hour was, hey, about quality content, like, how come something that's so small can rank higher, but I have a longer page and it's not ranking well. The question comes down to, just because you think something is high quality content does not necessarily mean that it's going to be high value for the web, and vice versa, right? So what John say, or sorry, I made a mistake. It's not actually on SEO office hours. It was on Twitter. But just saying that something can be high quality content with a lot of information for users and still be low value for the web. This statement underscores an important point. Not all high quality content adds significant value to the web. It's not just about crafting content with comprehensive information for users. The content must also bring something new or unique to the table to stand out in the sea of information on the web. The value of content can vary irrespective of its length or the quantity of information it provides. Sometimes even short content can garner significant interest and links, while longer content may not resonate as well. The evolving landscape of digital marketing and SEO requires us to keep a keen eye on these nuances. It is critical to continually reassess and ensure that your content is not just high in quality, but also adds unique value to the web. Hope that helps, because I've seen a lot of people, including some of our prospects, who come in and they say, oh, we're doing content publishing, content marketing, and the only thing I see is the crap content, right? So if that's what you are doing because they hired a content farm in another country and they're just churning out content weekly basis, or they realtors do a lot, they kind of subscribe to some of the service that gives them blog, but that service gives them the same blog to like 500 or 1,000 customers they have, and they're posting the same blog. It's crap, right? Of course, a prospect comes into their site and they say, oh, they've been publishing blog regularly. That's a very different value, very different market set versus, writing well thought out content so that you can rank higher and actually find customers from organic searches. So they're two different, market strategy. Let's not confuse the two. But if you want to just drive traffic to your page, and if you want someone to say, oh, this person is so expert, even though I think that's illegal, that's like kind of crap, that's kind of bad, but you want to do it. Okay, the other news from Google is that invalid schema markup does not impact your Google rankings. Gary Elias, I think you know him. He's a Google rep. Recently clarified that having invalid schema markup does not hurt your website's ranking or its overall performance on the search engine. The worst case scenario, if Google cannot parse the markup, it's simply that if Google cannot parse the markup, it's as simple as it's not going to use it. Right. Now, if you ask me, that should you care, I wouldn't say do not intentionally go ahead and not have a schema markup or not make any changes. Sometimes things fall through the cracks. If you're a small business owner trying to do everything by yourself, in that case it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But I would definitely encourage you to have a schema markup. Right, it's just another way, because if you don't have it, it won't give you a reach. It's not gonna you're gonna potentially miss out in some of the search features like rich attributes under your snippets. Hey, the more area you have in the search engine results page, the better you have chances of getting a person to click on it and show up on your site and actually use it. Websites are gone where it's just a brochure. Websites are more should be built with eye for conversion. Okay. Next up, Google is planning to update its helpful content system. When they did not say that, but it's basically saying that in the I/O conference last week, Google says that it's looking at updating it, which kind of makes sense, especially in the generative AI. So I just want you to know that it's coming. No action needed from your end right now. It's just something you need to put this bug in your content writing team or content writer to make sure that you are writing good quality content. Okay, last update of this week is that Google's adding a new metric to Core Web Vitals and dropping one, which is Google is removing first input delay and replacing it with a more comprehensive and accurate measure known as interaction to next paint. So feed FID is going out, INP is coming in. Feed has traditionally measured the delay before an interactive web page element becomes responsive. However, it did not take into account the total time it took for a web page to react to those interactions. Recognizing this incompleteness of the FID metric, Google introduced INP, interaction to next paint, as an experimental metric in May 2022. INP not only measures the delay but also the entire responsiveness of a page, offering a more precise understanding of the user experience. INP has been available through tools like PageSpeed Insights for the past year. This new metric considers the entire duration from the moment a user interacts with the web page to the time it takes for the site to respond visually. Pages with an INP score under 200 milliseconds are considered fine, while scores between 200 and 500 milliseconds needs improvement, and scores above 500 milliseconds signify poor responsiveness. For publishers, developers, and SEOs who've been working to optimize website performance, this change could potentially reflect in more positive INP scores. As we know, elements that can affect this score include scripts taking a long time to load, delays in fetching a resource, and the time spent parsing CSS and HTML for correct website display. Optimizing these areas may lead to better INP scores. Please note that INP is currently a pending Core Web Vital metric and will officially become a Core Web Vital metrics in May 2024. Now, you're going to say, hey, Sajid, we have 1 year, but you blink, it's going to come up just with GA4 migration. I would urge you to start looking at this today. Why wait? Because the change is inevitable, but why wait? Why not get started with it today, especially if you have a website with lots of pages? Again, if you are unsure how these changes might affect you, or if you want to know how you can optimize your website for INP, we are here to help. Reach out to us today for a comprehensive audit, and let's ensure your website is ready to meet the new standards of user experience. With that, folks, that's it for this week in marketing. Signing off. This is your host Sajid Islam. Until next week, take care. Bye-bye.